everybody. Happy Sunday. We're back here doing a special Sunday edition of our NFL Pick'em episode. Obviously, the Lions not in action today and on the bye week. So, without further ado, Joe, you've definitely made up some ground there. You had got the better me of last week. You went 8-7. I went 7-8. That bumps up the rankings to where I'm only, I want to say, I'm just one game ahead. And right now, because you got the Thursday night football game pick correct, you are currently tied up with me. So we differ on 5 games this week. So we have 4 games left. Like I said, I'll toss it up here, but in the first matchup of the week, you went with the Seahawks. I went with the Rams. So that's tied it up here. So we'll take a look here at the rest of the games and see which ones need to go your way in order for you to either potentially take the lead this week, because you've been on quite the hot streak, or perhaps I might be able to make some ground back up after what's been a couple of bad pick'em weeks for myself.
Make some ground up? What are you talking about? We're tied.
Yeah, well, you not only make up, you've made up the ground. Now you're looking to surge ahead. So we'll have to see how it goes here with these games. Taking a look at what we have, and of course today there's quite a few. There's 15 games being played in week 5. Of those 15 games, just checking here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 of them are being played at the 1 o'clock hour, so quite a bit of football on here at 1 o'clock. There's only the 2 4 o'clock games, and then of course Sunday night and Monday night football, so going to be interesting to see how things go here in week number 5. So, Joe, starting it off here, taking a look at the Jets, who will be traveling to the Eagles. We both have the Eagles in this game. Sam Darnold, I believe, was ruled out for this game, so you'll still have Luke Falk there for the starting quarterback. So, nothing too surprising, Joe, but both going with Eagles to defend home turf. Moving on to the third game of the week, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars, who will be traveling to Carolina. We're both going with the Panthers in this game.
Haven't done anything.
But I think Gardner Minshew will be playing in this. He was on the injury report all week long with a little bit of a knee injury. But we're both going with Kyle Allen and the Carolina Panthers to, again, defend home field against the Jacksonville Jaguars today. Taking a look at the Minnesota and New York Giants game. Of course, that game being played in New York. We both like the Vikings to rebound up against the Giants. This will be potentially Daniel Jones' first loss as a starter, if that holds true. And Joe, this next game, also in the 1 o'clock hour, is the first one where we differ today. You're going with the Falcons, who are visiting the Houston Texans. I like the Texans in this one. Of course, they're my AFC pick for the Super Bowl, so I'm going to stand by them here in week number 5. Going to go with the Texans, but you like the Falcons in this one. Moving right along here, let's take a look at the next game. And this game could be a little bit of a trap for New Orleans. We both like the Saints at home against Tampa Bay, but Tampa Bay...
Falcons played some good football the last...
Yeah, they've certainly been playing some good football. Tampa Bay has, I think they're averaging like 30 some odd points a game. The Saints obviously have been holding down the fort without Drew Brees being successful there, but it has been, of course, the offense hasn't looked the same as it normally does with Drew Brees in there. They do seem to be catering things a little bit different with Teddy Bridgewater, but that defense has stepped up. So, again, it could be a very interesting game. I think Tampa Bay, depending on which Tampa Bay team shows up, could give the Saints some trouble, but we are both going with the Saints in this matchup. Taking a look at an AFC matchup here. I'm going with the Bills on the road in Tennessee. You're going with the home team, the Titans there. Of course, the Bills coming off a tough loss at home to New England. Josh Allen did clear concussion protocol and will be getting the start today. But the Titans are one of those teams where you never really know what you're going to get out of them week to week. So, Buffalo's defense has played really well so far, Joe. So, given the fact they are getting Josh Allen back from the concussion protocol, I'm going to go with the Bills on the road in Tennessee. moving along here. The next game up, we have the Cardinals traveling to play the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincinnati. We're both going with the away team, the Cardinals, to get the win here. I think both of these teams looking for their first win of the season. Of course, big news this week was John Ross getting placed on IR for the Bengals. So now they're without A.J. Green and John Ross in that passing game. I think we're both in agreement here that Arizona might just have the easier chance of coming out with the victory. So we're both going with the Cardinals. A game that should come as no surprise, we're both going with the undefeated Patriots, who will be on the road traveling to Washington to take on the Redskins. Certainly seems like Jay Gruden is on that hot seat there in Washington, going with Colt McCoy as his starting quarterback today, but should be a pretty easy game for Bill Belichick and the Patriots to get a win there, and also kind of rebound after what was a close call there in Buffalo last week. They didn't have the best game, but they got out with the W, but a chance to rebound here against Washington. Looking at a AFC North matchup here between the Ravens and the Steelers. The Steelers, the home team. We're both going with the Ravens in this one. Myself not totally sold on Mason Rudolph's ability to lead that team, and just it's not necessarily all on him. Of course, outside of Juju Smith-Schuster, there's not really another wide receiver. You did see the running backs get heavily involved in the passing game last week, but I just don't know if there's enough weapons there with, AB being gone and Le'Veon Bell being gone for there to. It just doesn't seem like that offense is potent enough to really get the job done with a backup quarterback. The game being played over in England, we have the Chicago Bears and the Oakland Raiders are technically the home team, despite the locale difference. We're both going with the Bears and Khalil Mack to get the win over his former team, the Raiders, in this game. And, of course, Chase Daniel will be getting the start for the Bears. Mitchell Trubisky did travel with the team, but he is dealing with that shoulder injury that will prevent him from playing in this game. But really, the star of the show when you're talking about the Bears is that defense, so no real surprise we like the Chicago Bears over the Raiders in this one. Another divisional matchup between two rivals. We have the L.A. Chargers playing host to the Denver Broncos. We both like the home team in this game,
If I
Joe.
had to redo my pick, I'd probably choose the Raiders on that one.
Oh, you'd go with the Raiders back there in that Bears and that Raiders game, huh? Interesting. But taking a look at the next matchup, like I said, AFC West showdown. This is the first of the two 4 o'clock games. You got the Broncos squaring off against the Chargers there. And, both going with the Chargers, locking them in. Should be a pretty... the Broncos still looking for their first win on the season, and I think they'll have to look towards Week 6 before they can get on the board with that. Taking a look at the better of the two 4 o'clock games, I shouldn't say the better, the more intriguing one, you have the matchup between the 3-1 Packers on the road at the 3-1 Dallas Cowboys. This is one of the games where we're split, Joe. You're going with the Cowboys. I'm going with the Packers. An interesting choice on my part. Certainly, I think the Cowboys should have the better time, but Aaron Rodgers has had some very good games down there at Jerry World, so I'm going to put my trust in Rodgers to get that win in a game where they're going to look to rebound after a disappointing game against the Eagles. Of course, both of these two teams up towards the top of our power rankings, so should be a pretty good game in that 4 o'clock slot. Taking a look at the Sunday night football game, we have the Kansas City Chiefs and the Indianapolis Colts in prime time. The Chiefs are the home team there, both going with the Chiefs to get the win over the Colts, although this could be another game that could be pretty interesting. T.Y. Hilton, I believe, should be a go for the Colts. He is dealing with that, coming off that quad injury, so he's not going to be at 100%, but the Colts are a decent team, so they could, especially with the Chiefs team that's coming off a tough previous week against the Lions, the Colts could push the Chiefs a little bit here, and it could be an interesting game. The last game of the week, the Monday Night Football game, and the game where we differ as well, is the Browns, who will be traveling to San Francisco. San Francisco undefeated on the season. You like the 49ers at home. I'm going with the Browns in this game. Hoping that we see the Browns that took care of business against Baltimore rather than some of the Browns we saw on Monday Night Football previously taking on the Jets, where they looked certainly out of sorts. But we'll have to see. As mentioned, that is 5 games separating us there, Joe. So certainly plenty of opportunity for there to be, as mentioned, right now we're currently tied with your correct Thursday Night Football pick. So that means there's 4 games that can help decide who will take the lead after this week. So we could split them. One of us could take the advantage. We'll have to see what happens after what should be a pretty exciting day of football. A lot of teams in the NFL are 2-2, which means there's a lot of exciting storylines here, especially with 10 games being played at the 1 o'clock hour.
Right on.
So, yep, it should be a pretty exciting day of football. Of course, the Lions inactive this week. However, they will be, as we've been previewing, playing next week on Monday Night Football against the Green Bay Packers. Wow, eluding me there for a second. And of course, the other team that is on a bye, because there's only 15 games this week, is your Miami Dolphins. They are not in action this week, so Lions and Dolphins on the bye this week. And yeah, that will do it for today's video. Just running through our picks there. We'll see who reigns supreme after this week. Again, 4 games separating me, or difference this week between me and Joe. So we'll have to see how that works out. But until the next video, which will be on, we'll still do our typical Monday video, and just sort of, instead of where we usually do the recap about the Lions game, we'll just sort of touch on what happened here in week 5. And yeah, that should be fun. If you did enjoy the show, please do help the channel grow. Go ahead and hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done so. It really does help us out, and we're working towards that goal of reaching 100 subscribers. Making good progress there, but still need your support, and we appreciate you for tuning in. Until Monday's recap video, we wish you a very pleasant Sunday, and we'll catch you during the next video. I'm Kevin Marheine. He's Joe Wilmot. We'll be seeing you during the next one. Bye-bye.